Hi everyone, welcome to the Chat and Vibe series for the upcoming Vitality Festival, which starts on October the 31st. Getting really excited. It is a free virtual 9-day health and wellbeing festival for frontline workers and anyone who's needing a little bit of support, inspiration or motivation to get them out of the COVID cocoon. And today we've got one of our keynote speakers, Dr. Marc Cohen, who I've known for a very long time. And he is a real trailblazer. And if anyone's going to get you motivated or inspired, it's Dr. Marc. So Dr. Marc, thanks for coming along today.
Well, thank you, Tanya, for inviting me. I love what you're doing and yeah, well done for creating this event.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you've got to be where you are today.
Yeah, wow. Okay. So I started off I remember in primary school, I read this book, Limits to Growth. I must have been 8 or 9 years old. And it showed all these graphs showing population increasing and pollution increasing and resources decreasing. And it predicted that the whole world would collapse around 2020. And I remember seeing this in primary school thinking, in 2020, I'll be 56 then. That'll be right at the peak of my life. How can I prepare myself for this coming global collapse? And I figured at that time that the world is either going to break down and there'll be nuclear bombs or some catastrophe and humans are going to be gone, or we're going to break through to a whole new way of civilization. And I've always sort of said, rather than fight what I don't want and, try and fight the apocalypse, I'm going to work to what I do want. And I want a world of wellness. I want worldwide wellness. So I figured out at that very early age that I was going to become a world expert in wellness. And that sort of guided all my decisions. So that took me for a whole path, studying Western medicine, then Chinese medicine, then physiology and psychology, and then electrical computer systems engineering, then becoming a professor, where I've actually just come out of 38 years at university, where I was studying, and then being a professor, and really pioneering the transdisciplinary field of wellness. And that allowed me to practice and teach and also research holistic and integrative medicine. And I've really been at the forefront of knowledge in yoga, meditation, breathing practices, detoxification, nutrition, organic food, herbal medicine, saunas and hot springs and health retreats, acupuncture, all the fun stuff that doesn't have any money behind it. There's no research funds behind it. But these are all the areas I've really focused my academic career on. And I've done stuff on elite athletic performance. I've got, I retired at the end of 2018, but I've still got 6 PhD students. And Lauren Burns, Olympic gold medalist. We've done work on Olympic athletes, and Nicole Bausner, who's a building biologist. We've done stuff on health hazards in the home and research on herbal teas and organic food, and that's been my focus. But then I figured that anticipating that this year would be the collapse, I took last year off because when I felt I graduated after 38 years at the end of 2018. And what you do after you graduate, you take a gap year. So last year I took a gap year and I ran some retreats and I've sort of started planning some businesses. And this year is sort of the year I said, okay, I'm ready to start getting into the world and actually doing what I'm meant to be doing. And that's what I've been doing for the last year, especially during the lockdown. And I'm just about to launch a whole range of different businesses. And one of the things I really learned studying wellness from, Chinese perspective and Western perspective is that, wellness is about we, that I can't be well unless everybody's well. And that just sort of made my mission to make worldwide wellness means that I'm really devoted to making people individually well. And the other thing I realized is that wellness can be just as effective as illness. And that there are a whole lot of simple, practical solutions that can be shared that cost no money. They don't take a lot of time. They don't need much equipment or training. And then when you share them, both the giver and the receiver benefits, and that the giver is not depleted. So these are the things I've been focusing on. And these include just, things like breathing practices or kombucha scobies, or a plant cutting, where you give away a plant cutting. You get to keep the plant, you give cutting away, and someone else gets the plant, and you both enjoy it. And then you make a friend. So, so even by giving it away, you're actually enhancing your own life. So I've really been focusing on these, simple, practical solutions. And I've got a whole range of businesses that are focusing on that. And one is around beautiful water. And, you know, I could talk about water forever. So it's a whole rabbit hole there, because water is the most amazing, mysterious substance that is who we are. So we're made of water. And beautiful water isn't just filtered water. It's water that's filtered, structured, balanced in terms of pH and minerals, blessed with positive intention and imbued with positive energy. And then it can be given away for free. And by doing that, you can prevent the promotion of plastic water bottles. And there are 1 million plastic water bottles every minute are made and disposed of. And that's 500 billion per year. And that's just a disaster. So beautiful water systems aren't just water filters, they're sacred water vessels that can produce, you know, water that's filtered, structured, balanced, blessed, and can be given away for free. And that can prevent pollution in plastic water bottles. So that's one company. Another company is Extremely Alive Wellness Tonics, and that's a joint venture with the Good Brew Kombucha Company. And we're just about to launch that. We've got the labels, we've got the brews, we've got 5 different blends, and these are living probiotic kombucha vinegars that are shelf stable. They don't need to be refrigerated. They contain no sugar, no alcohol, but they do contain the trillions of living probiotic bacteria and yeast. And we've imbued them with, each blend has 10 medicinal herbs. That includes like leaves, roots, flowers, fruits, and fantastic fungi. So, you know, turkey tail and lion's mane and reishi. And there are 5 different blends, one for your immunity, one for detoxification, one for your brain, one for your hormones, one for your gut. And these are super potent blends, and you can take them as a shot. You can add them to sparkling or still mineral water to make a drink. You can put them on salads and using for preserving foods and as a condiment. Or you can actually feed it sweet tea, and each small 40 ml jar contains an infinite amount of kombucha because you can feed it and grow it yourself and give it away. So this is a generative medicine where, you know, you get to keep it, but you can also get to give it away. So that's Extremely Alive Wellness Tonics. Then I've also got the Extreme Wellness Academy that's just launched. And this is an online education platform. I've launched it with the first course called Waking Up to Wellness, which gives you a real fundamentals of all these sort of simple practical solutions. And it goes through extreme wellness practices, which is about opening up your channels of elimination. And that's your bladder, your bowels, your breath, your body, and your brain. And these practices involve filtering and flushing your bladder, feasting and fasting your bowel, panting and holding your breath, doing hot and cold with your body, and doing everything you can in flow and doing nothing at all with your brain. So this is a whole education course, and we're about to launch another course possibly next week called Navigating the Waters from Tap Liquid to Beautiful Water. And that covers all the basics that you want to know about water. So it goes through all the different types of water, you know, from spring water, tap water, reverse osmosis water, alkaline water, etc. Then it also goes through what does it mean to filter your water, and how is that done, or structure your water. What is structured water? What is pH balanced water? What is blessed water? And then what talks about water advocacy. So this is an education platform, the Extreme Wellness Academy. And then I've also got my next children's book, my first illustrated children's book, The Beautiful Mare and the Boy Who Gave Thanks, was just read by Fergie, the Duchess of York. Just read that on her YouTube channel about a week ago. My next book's called Bing and Bang Begin. And I started writing this book in 1986 when I was in Sri Lanka studying Chinese medicine. And I came across yin and yang and the Tao and the 5 elements. And these lines of verse just appeared in my head of these characters, Bing and Bang. And it's a story about love and all the things to do, which is nothing, everything, something, anything, and thing king. And this is all written in a Dr. Seuss type verse. And it goes through Chinese cosmology, Western thermodynamics, quantum theory, evolutionary theory, in a really fun, magical, incredibly, amazingly illustrated book that's really quite enchanted. So that's about to come out. It's just gone to the graphic designer. It's taken 2 years for Kiamatic to illustrate the images. So that's all about to be released. And then I'm a shareholder in the Maruya Hot Springs, which is an incredible eco wellness retreat off the grid. It runs on hydropower in the mountains and the Southern Alps of New Zealand. And we're just designing the world's best bathhouse for that. We're doing a whole new development there. we've got laminar flow showers and really exciting, amazing developments that's happening at Maria Hot Springs in New Zealand. And then the Bathe the World Foundation, which is supporting water projects around the world. And finally, I've been doing the Protestival and helping with that, which is an online Protestival, which is, the aim is to really raise people's spirits and get them to connect at a human level and use music and dance and comedy and art to raise people's vibration and get them to act beyond fear, to get them to really to act in joy. And we also provide a whole lot of information. So it's protestival.co is the website, and there's a whole lot of information there, which we're not shoving down your throat, but you can get all the different know your rights and all the different legal petitions, all the doctors' petitions, all the health information on hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin and heat and hydrothermal therapies. So all this information and alternative news sites and documentary videos are all available at Protestival. So, this is so this explosion. It's springtime in Melbourne. This is the time for birthing and bringing new projects forward. And I feel like I'm really sort of tapped into that spring energy. And
Yeah.
and I'm also doing that personally, because at home I've been building my I've got an infrared sauna here at home, but I'm building a Finnish sauna, and I'm just waiting for the box to arrive. I was caught up in Singapore and the shipping, and this has been like a 4-year build project that I've been doing slowly over the years. So I've got all this stuff just about to happen. So the sauna's about to be built, and the vinegar's about to come out, and the beautiful water system's about to be released, and the children's book. So I'm really feeling that spring energy of all these things are just emerging. And I'm super excited. I'm super excited to have these platforms like Vitality to actually share these messages. And really, a lot of the messages I'm sharing don't involve buying anything or doing anything. It's just how you can tweak your life, what I call simple, practical solutions that will help you become extremely well. Because I want to live in a world of wellness. And for me to live in a world of wellness means you need to be extremely well. So I want to help you.
Yeah. It's so exciting. And, for as long as I've known you, you've always been about educating and introducing new ways to wellness and really pivoting people's idea that, you don't need to go to a doctor when you're sick, rather than focusing on keeping yourself well, and I think that's really, really important, because it's a mental shift, it's moving towards the positive rather than away from the negative.
So I was doing that. I remember, I think I first met you in the mid-1990s, and I was teaching at Monash Medical School then. And I was teaching medical students about wellness, and we'd take them rafting and, whitewater rafting and rock climbing to teach them about risk management and about, how to take someone from a scary situation, and talking about Aboriginal spirituality or humour and healing, and doing that within the medical faculty. And I spent 38 years, like 30 years as a doctor, most of that time as an educator. And the word doctor actually means to teach. Docere is the Latin, means to teach. So I feel very comfortable teaching that. But up until about a few years ago, to be able to teach at a global level, you needed to be part of a university, because you needed big learning management systems and all that infrastructure. And now that's becoming available online. So rather than spend all my effort working for big corporate university, teaching, I was teaching chiropractors and osteopaths and Chinese medicine practitioners and naturopaths and doctors. Now I can teach everybody this stuff, and I don't have to teach what the curriculum tells me to teach. I can teach what I'm really passionate about and what I want to teach, and often that's more effective. So it's so exciting this technology is available, and that these methods can be available to people in their homes. You don't have to you spend a lot of money. You don't have to, devote years and years to doing it. And you don't really need the certificate at the end of it, because really the proof is in how you actually implement it in your life, and how you share it. So and that's what I'm really keen to have people share these simple, practical solutions for living well.
Yeah. And I love that you're talking about simple, practical solutions, because, a lot of people are feeling overwhelmed or really burdened at the moment with the current COVID situation. And I think it's really important to know that we can do things without spending a lot of money. We can do things which are really simple, but they are going to have a huge impact on the way we feel, on the way we think, whether we're sleeping, all those sorts of things. And people don't have to have a degree, and they don't have to spend thousands of dollars. I think that's really important for people to know.
Yeah, and often the most powerful things are super simple, super cheap. And I mean, one of the things I've been talking a lot about recently is just the use of heat and a hot bath. You don't need a sauna. I mean, just a hot bath at home can raise your body temperature 1 or 2 degrees. And when you do that, you get all the benefits of a fever without the metabolic cost. Because when you're sick, you get exhausted, because part of being sick is your body has to raise its temperature to generate a fever. And that helps you combat a viral infection. And it's funny because at the start of the pandemic, I was writing about this, on social media, and I was getting banned and trolled, and people saying, you can't, there's no evidence for this. And I got really pissed off, because I've done sauna research. I've reviewed the world sauna research. I've published on this. I've done research on hot springs and all of this. So I know that there's really good science behind it. But I had Facebook and Google saying, no, this is not evidence-based, and you can't spread this misinformation. So I ended up writing a peer-reviewed scientific paper summarizing all the evidence for the use of heat. It's called Turning Up the Heat on COVID-19. It's free, open access. Anyone can look at that. And it documents all the research that shows that heat is effective. And I was fascinated, because it's not just humans that use heat to treat viral infections. For the last 600 million years, insects, fish, birds, and reptiles all raise their body temperature when they get a viral infection. Now, if you're a fish or an insect or a bird, you have to go to a hot spot to raise your temperature. Now, mammals do it by raising fever, because we've got internal body production. But it's exhausting to make a fever. So what humans do, we can use fire or a hot spring or a hot water service to outsource that energy to our hot water service. So you get in a hot bath, you can raise your body temperature. And what that does, it makes your immune cells more active. They become more fluid. They can get antigens better. They can migrate to where they're needed much better. So it actually super boosts your immune system. You also get heat shock proteins being released, which protect your cells. So at the cellular level, things happen to boost your immunity. Also at the physiological level, so your heart and your lungs become more active, your blood vessels open up, you detoxify, so you get rid of all this toxic waste, you sweat that out. So that's really powerful. And then at a psychological level, and I've still got a PhD student, Joy Hussain. She's a medical doctor up in Brisbane. We've just done some sauna research, clinical trial. We're publishing that now. But a while ago, we did a global sauna survey. I had another student, James Clark Kennedy. We did a hot spring survey. And when we asked people about, what the benefits do you get from sauna bathing or hot spring bathing, the thing they all came back was that they sleep better. After a hot bath, it's sort of common sense that if you sleep better, then your immune system works better, your brain works better, you're going to be less anxious, less fearful. Whatever other illness you've got, you're going to be more resilient and help overcome that just by relaxing and sleeping better. So, who would have thought a hot bath or a shower or a sauna can be so effective on multiple levels? But it's really powerful. Now, there's a caveat there that heat is a really powerful force. I mean, it can move a train. So, there are some common sense safety principles, such as, if there's a hot surface, you don't put your hand on the sauna rocks, or you don't put your hand in boiling water, you're going to burn yourself. You also need to be careful with your posture. If you're lying down and you're really hot, if you stand up suddenly, all the blood will drain down into your open blood vessels in your legs, and you're going to get dizzy or faint or lightheaded. So you've got to be careful around just, holding on and getting up slowly. You want to be careful about staying hydrated. So you need to, make sure you've got preferably beautiful water to rehydrate. And also when your pores are open, and also when it's hot, any water that you have can outgas chlorine, and you're going to breathe that in, and you're going to absorb it through your skin. So you want to have filtered water, but it's important to stay hydrated. You also want to know your limits. So everyone's got their own tolerance, and even the same person at different times of the day, or if over a while your tolerance will change. But you want to know your limits, and it's you get to the point where you're comfortably uncomfortable. And it's like in a yoga stretch. You get to the point in the yoga stretch where you're at the end of your stretch, and if you just focus and breathe, you can be there and you're okay. But if you try to push yourself past it, you're going to hurt yourself. The same with heat. There's a point when you're really hot, and it's cold it happens too, although it's a bit of a different thing. But there's a point where you're relaxed in the sauna or hot bath, but after a while you start to heat up, and then your body says, hey, it's time to get out, we're a bit hot here. It's like your cells and even the mitochondria in your cells are starting to talk to your brain saying, hey, let's get on the same page here, we're cooking. And that's the point where you just breathe and be there for a few breaths, and then you can get out and relax and come back to normal. So you want to know what your limits are and just be comfortably uncomfortable. I call it the point of forced mindfulness, where your body sort of demands attention from your mind because there's something going on that you have to pay attention to. So that's really important. And then finally, it's really good to spend just as much time resting and relaxing as you do going into the heat. And that trains your body to turn down the inflammatory response, to turn down that cytokine storm, to come back to homeostasis, to come back to balance. And training your body to do that, you know, after every hot bath or shower, I mean, you'll sleep better and you'll relax better, and that's really powerful. But that actually trains your system. So when you have stress out in the outside world that you're not in control of, you can then better cope with it and stay, you know, extremely comfortable in any situation. And that's what, you know, that's what I wish for everybody, for them to be, you know, extremely comfortable in any situation.
I think that's fantastic. And that's really what you're talking about during the festival. So anybody who's looking for some really good tips and hints on how to be comfortable in this crisis should definitely come along to Dr. Marc's talk. So just before we wrap it up, you know, a lot of people are talking about the COVID situation, and you're talking about wellness. And I know from where both of us stand, it's really important to keep your immune system really strong, which takes, you know, you need to be committed to it. You need to be persistent in terms of feeding into your immune system. So what's just one or two little tips that you might provide people listening or viewing us today that they could do to just take their immune system and strengthen it just that little bit?
So, well, the recipe for wellness. I've got a recipe for wellness, and I've been summarising a lot of this information. I've studied 40 years at university, and it's coming out as poetry. So the recipe for wellness is: bathe in beautiful water, prepare delicious food, make the most of every breath, dance through every mood, tend the soil beneath your feet, embrace sunshine from above, share your gifts with all the world, fill your life with love.
Fantastic.
That will boost your immune system.
I love it. There's so many things in there, you know, especially loving the dancing and the loving. I think it's really important. And they're things that you can do on your own. They're things that, you know, there's a lot of presenters that are presenting over the course of the 9 days at the Vitality Festival who are going to help you to do all these different things. So thank you so much, Dr. Marc Cohen, for being here today. And we really can't wait to have you presenting at the Vitality Festival starting on the 31st of October.
I'm really excited for that. Thanks, Tanya.
Thank you. And we wish you all the best in everything that you do.
Well, you're going to hear about it because it's all coming, you know, it's all unfolding this spring. So yeah, exciting times for all of us, I think.
Great. Thank you.